So if you are a parent with sleep issues within your family, so whether that's you as a parent of young children, or maybe one or more of your children has disrupted sleep patterns themselves, then you know for yourself how when you don't get the recommended 8 or 9 hours sleep or more for young children, then it really has an impact on family life. In fact, it can wreak havoc, let's be clear. And myself, I feel like I never properly recovered from the early years with my daughter. When she was a baby and a toddler, and I was breastfeeding her through the night, and having those years of disrupted sleep, it really had an impact. And these days I can quite easily get to sleep at 10 p.m. But for me, it's staying asleep, it's that disruption. It's the waking at 3 or 4 a.m. and then being awake for the day at that point. But, having to do the day on only 5 or 6 hours sleep. And obviously there are sleep medications available, but that's probably not a route that you would want to go down. It's not one that I would choose to do, especially with young children. And so in this video, I'm going to outline some of the things that have helped me to get my own sleep patterns back on track. So the first of those is having better sleep hygiene and, a really clear routine before bed for both me and my daughter. And the second thing is related to putting better nutrition into our body that's helped us to sleep better. And that is by drinking electrolysed reduced water. Now, if you like this kind of content and you're a parent who is looking to elevate your family's health and well-being, but using a more natural and a more holistic approach, then you'll find a lot of value in my Facebook group. You'll find the link in the description below, and I'd love to see you over there. It's entirely free, by the way. But for now, let's get on with this video so I can share some of the ways in which I have found to improve both mine and my daughter's sleep patterns. So as I said, the first thing that I'm going to recommend is being really disciplined with your sleep hygiene. So I know that it's really tempting so I'm just looking at my notes. I don't want to miss anything out. So I know it's really tempting to scroll on your phone before bed, especially if you're finding it difficult to fall asleep. It's handy to have it there, isn't it? And especially if you're trying to get a child to sleep, you're just there on your phone, you kind of soothing your child to sleep. It's a habit that we can definitely get into, and I've been there myself. But as well as being overstimulating, being on your phone late at night, it also tricks your brain into believing, that the blue light, it tricks your brain into thinking that it's daytime, which means that your body doesn't produce the melatonin that it needs in order to start to feel sleepy and to wind down. And it also disrupts your circadian rhythm. Is it circadian rhythm? I just had a complete blank there. Circadian rhythm, I think that's the way you say it, isn't it? Yeah. Which can also have, as well as it can create a sleep disorder when our circadian rhythms are disrupted. There can also be health implications for that as well, which is not good news, not what we want. And there's also some research that suggests that it can take double the amount of time to fall asleep if you're on your phone when you're trying to get to sleep. So not great news at all. So we've all become really used to having our phones in our bedrooms, haven't we? And feel very attached to having them. We have thoughts like, what if somebody tries to get in touch with me in the night? What if there's an emergency? I need my alarm to get me up in the morning and need to know what time it is if I wake up. But, definitely within all of our lifetimes, and probably as recently as 10 or 15 years ago, we were definitely living without smartphones in our bedrooms, right? So what I have done is I've bought myself a digital clock with an alarm, and I read a book to fall asleep, and I leave my phone downstairs, and I trust that if somebody needs to get in touch with me, then they will, one way or another. For years we didn't have our phones by our sides, but we lived. Do you know what I mean? We got by. We found ways to navigate around it. Okay, so for me, doing this new regime, the biggest impact has been that if I wake in the early hours, as I said, I don't normally have a problem getting off to sleep, but it's the waking at 3 or 4 a.m. that's a problem. And not, with no chance of having being able to get back to sleep if I have my phone next to me. But what I've found is by not having it there, I will maybe get up and need to go to the loo, but I will be able to, if I'm not checking my phone, I can go back to sleep. My body will allow me to go back into sleep, which is, it's a really good thing, because who wants to be awake at 3 or 4 a.m. with that feeling of being the only person around in the world? And if you've ever been there with that kind of insomnia, then you know that feeling, right? So that brings me on to my second recommendation, which is throughout the day drinking electrolyzed reduced water. So I've been drinking it for a few months, and I drink 2 to 3 litres a day from a machine that I have in my kitchen. And I have definitely noticed a improvement in my sleep patterns. So as I said, I would normally wake at 3 or 4 a.m. and awake with the racing brain and all of that. But as a result of, I think it's the combination of the sleep hygiene habits and drinking the water, I'm able to now sleep until 6:30, 7 a.m., which is a massive change for me. And I also usually wake up feeling like I'm refreshed. I've had a refreshing night's sleep and ready to start the day, which also is having a big impact on family life. So as a single parent to a 12-year-old who is neurodivergent and is also hormonal, there can be a lot of challenges in our household, right? And the fact that my energy levels are better, that I am less irritable, that I don't need to go for the 4 p.m. nap that I often would, on some days, I feel so much more present and available to my daughter. And, that is really important to me and really feels like it's making a big difference within our lives. So what exactly is electrolyzed reduced water? So it can also be referred to as hydrogen-rich water and also alkaline water. And it's produced through a process of it's produced through a process of electrolysis. So here comes a little bit of science. Although through the electrolysis process, the water is split into 2 different components. So you've got the acidic water and you've got the alkaline water. Now the alkaline water, that part is rich in hydrogen, and that type of water has antioxidant properties. And it's well known that can help with sleep. So how exactly does it do that? So the main way is by, and I am just checking my notes now because I want to get this right. The main way is by reducing oxidative stress and inflammation in the body, which and that is linked to disrupted sleep patterns. So I go into much more depth about all of this in my Facebook group, as well as other topics related to holistic family health. And as I said at the beginning, if you got value, if you like this kind of content, if you want to hear more of it, then, and you're a parent who is looking to elevate their family's health using more holistic, more natural methods, then you can gain the benefit of what I have learned as a single parent, as an entrepreneur, and as a home educator, balancing all of this, but also moving outside of the system and starting to take a more personal responsibility for my family's health and well-being. and our journey within all of that. So yeah, you can find all of that within my Facebook community. It's called Holistic Parents Creating Family Health. I'll put a link in the description, and you can request to join. I'll welcome you personally, and if you join at the moment, then you also get the benefit of a free PDF guide, which is called Holistic Family Health 101. So that will be useful, and it's also free. And within the group, within the community, there are obviously other like-minded parents who are on this journey. But there'll also be live Q&As, which will be sharing, resources and information and education around, ways to improve and elevate the health and wellness journey that you are on as a holistic family. So that's all from me for now. Thank you, and I will see you over there.